exact screen. I use it quite a bit. So then we have the students tab. So this is where you're going to find all of your students to dive into what we call the portfolio. So tomorrow we will dive into that portfolio, and then where you can group your students. Sorry. And then once you group your students, it's going to help you work with them as you work with them in advisor, advisee, or homeroom. I probably haven't said that, but this curriculum will fall into homeroom for middle school, advisor, advisee for high school. So it will go into there. Principals are aware of it. Coaches are aware of it. So it's going to be a progress change that we have to work on. So if I would do student roster, it breaks it down by grade level. And then you're able to go by alphabet within those grade levels. You can search for names here. The reps from Naviance say the more filters you put in, the more students you're going to omit. So if you're just wanting to look at a specific grade, try to just put in that grade or put in a first name to not filter out too many students. Then we have the planner tab. This is where you can have a dashboard to look at how students in your building are progressing on those tasks or programs I mentioned earlier. The tasks and programs, they all tie back to the scope and sequence. So they do have a connection to the curriculum. Many are just labeled recommended because we all know not all students choose the same graduation pathway. So we may not have all students who want to take an AP course based on what they've decided to go after high school. So taking an AP course is something that would be recommended, not required, where you'll see the curriculum marked as required. And then you'll also see this assign and manage. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into what this does. You're going to do the manage versus assign. All these tasks and programs, they're going to be pushed out from the district. You don't have to worry about pushing them out. We will do it for you. You'll just help manage how the students do it. Correct. Your roster should already be imported. I believe high school, they've already been turned on and you should see them in your Schoology. Middle school, you should see your classes as well in Schoology. We do have a few pockets where we found that they're not fully on yet. So if you happen to notice that, reach out to your technology coordinator and we can make sure they get turned on. So yeah, that will make working with those students in that curriculum a lot easier now that we have everything rostered through Schoology, and then you can do all the tracking within this platform. So that is something we're going to ask teachers, is to track their students with their tasks within the programs that connect back to the scope and sequence. So essentially it's you teach a lesson and then you have them do that task within Naviance is what that means. And most of the tasks are student led, where students have to make a comment, students have to favorite a career, stuff like that. So it's not on you to physically go into the platform and make that marking, it's on them. You just might need to help guide them. Next is courses. This is that piece that is under construction. So this is where students will go to see the plans of study we offer and then look at that course catalog. The nice thing is we have it set up so it ties back to PowerSchool. So if the student has not taken a prerequisite course to take one, it won't let them sign up. So it does automatically prompt them saying it doesn't look like you have the right credits to take this class. So more information on this tab will be coming out as the year goes on. We do have our district scholarships that we offer based on building or overall in the district. And then Naviance has also put in the national scholarships. So you don't have to maintain these. Guidance counselors will do their normal thing, working with students on looking at the scholarships. There are some curriculum pieces in high school where they might explore them and start to look into them. Really, your piece here would be teaching the lesson, looking at scholarships, and if they ask for a letter of recommendation, doing that. So that should be normal for you to do that letter of recommendation. Then we have the colleges tab. So when we get into the colleges and careers tab, it's not as, I like to call it, pretty on the staff side as it is the students. So we've generated what's called a quick list. This quick list is based off our top colleges our students in our district apply to. So they have a quick way to find those colleges. Beyond that, they would have to search them on their own, which you can do right there to the left. Spelling is huge. This platform needs exact spelling, so we might have to help students spell colleges, or even when we get to careers, help them spell careers so they can find the information. So for the staff side, it's not as pretty, like I said, but when we get to the student side, you'll see the difference. So a lot of times it's better to drive on the student side than the staff side, just for future reference. So same for careers. They can look up the career clusters. The work-based learning, we're going to be using this for internships. So that's where they'll go for that, to look at and see what is available to apply to. The Gear Up office will be maintaining those, so you don't have to maintain those. But if I would select Find Careers, I get a nice big list of everything, where on the Naviance side, they make really nice like little cards that are tiles that students can click into to explore. It's very plain Jane on this side is a good way to put it. But once again, you have the left side to go ahead and search for that. And they can also search for careers within those clusters and pathways. And then the connections tab, you should not have anything under there. So don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. So I think that is, nope, one more piece on this I want to show you. So this is a new platform, and sometimes we're going to get questions we can't answer. So if you're a researcher, all the way on the right is a question mark, and you can go to Browse Product Help Articles. And you can just start to type in keywords or phrases, and it'll start to pull up all their training and articles that they have. It's actually pretty good. They have GIFs embedded, they have videos, they link to other places. So it's a really good help center. I highly recommend using that with questions you're getting if you don't know the answer or you're waiting for us to get back to you. So any questions over the staff side before I go to the student side? It's pretty easy to explore. And like I said, once we get on that student side, you're going to be like, oh, this is way better, and want to start driving from that side.
So Rachel, I was looking for my AA kids and I was trying to sort by their grade first. And when I put their grade in, it didn't sort for me. Is there another button I have to click, or?
Are you talking in here?
Yeah.
So in the platform here, your AA students are not rostered to you through here. They're rostered to you through Schoology.
Mm-hmm.
But then
so
tomorrow,
I'm sorry, I was just trying to sort.
Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to sort your students.
Okay, I will shut up then. Thanks.
I promise not to leave you high and dry, but I thought let's start with just basic navigation so I don't overwhelm you. So yes, I promise tomorrow I will have you get your AA students. And then you can think of a creative name to call them if you really want. Okay, so wherever you're at in the site, come back to the home screen. So just use this Naviance icon to get back to here. And then I'm sure many of you saw this great big green button and really wanted to click it. You can click it now if you already haven't. So while this is loading, you all have a demo account. So you get to see everything a student sees. We don't normally get this in a platform, so this is actually really unique and really cool to use, so that when you're working with the students, you can basically see the same thing they see. So very similar to the staff side with this navigation at the top, but before I get into that navigation, I'm going to work my way down. So I have welcome, demo, and my last name. So I'm signed in as a teacher with the last name McNeil. I'm able to search for my colleges. And then right here, depending on what you've landed on, there will be welcome messages. So if I change from my demo to, let's say, 6th grade, it's going to change it to the welcome message that I have set up for 6th grade. So some grades have their own different welcome message based on what we need them to do in the platform. You don't have to worry about managing this welcome message. This is going to be managed from your counselors reaching out to the district to change it, or the district already changing it on their own. So check, you don't have to worry about that. So then to the right is all of the students' favorites. They can see what colleges they're thinking about. They can look at the colleges they have applied to. This is the area where they can go make their requests for transcripts or letters of recommendation. Then we get into the careers they favorited or the clusters. So as they do stuff, all this is going to start to get built. So with this being our initial year, it's all blank. So our high schoolers aren't going to have as much done this year going into next year, but think about our 6th graders now. This is their first year. 4 years down the road, if we continue doing this curriculum, think how much information when they come to you in high school, how much they're going to have. So this is pretty cool. Then obviously, if they're thinking about scholarships, maybe 11th grade, they're starting to explore, and then 12th grade for sure, this will start to get built as well. So then moving down, you'll see important to-dos and tasks. So they will see 3 tasks here. They're random. I don't know how it chooses them, but usually it's not the full list and it's not even what they need to do. So we don't recommend telling students to look here to see what to do. We recommend hitting see all in my planner. And I'll show you another way to get to their planner to see the whole list of what tasks they have. To the right, I'm sure many of my high schools, you're seeing events here. So colleges are connected with Naviance. So instead of your guidance counselors having to call the colleges and set up those visits, colleges are looking at what schedule your high school put out and they are signing up and you're accepting them at your high school. So that's why high schools are already showing events coming up. This is where we'll also put like college fairs or maybe some JA experiences coming up. So that'll go there. So then coming down, Naviance does have the curriculum on their platform, but because we roster our students through Schoology, then they already built the curriculum. We have it all over on Schoology for you, and that's where we're going to do the curriculum, so you don't have to do it here. But it's the same thing. It'll just make your tracking it a little bit easier that you can assign stuff in Schoology. Then documents, these are going to be documents that are shared with students, such as that letter of recommendations when they get them, that school profile. Usually we have to have that to apply to colleges. So that goes there. And then at the very bottom are some quick links. So the quick links are ones that guidance counselors wanted students to have. So if they're working with families or, oh, I need to apply for 21st Scholar, they can click there to get quick access. Then the middle are pages to explore different items. So high school, you're going to see a little bit more here than middle school. And then like in 8th grade, you'll start to see Career Academy because we know they're probably starting to explore there. As AMP Lab makes stuff, we'll put it here. So it's just quick little information for them to get, videos, links, and then you do have to hit back to come back. And it always refreshes to the top of the page. So I'll come back down. And the last one is updates. Right now, this is linking to your school's Schoology page, but we will be changing this to the Parent Square page. So they know to go to Parent Square to look for communication from the school. So that's just the basic layout of the main home page. So to land back on this page, there's 2 ways to do it. There's the Naviance icon or the home button. So then if you remember when I showed you that pretty graphic in the beginning, I said there's those 5 tabs. So they have the 4 at least right here of the 5 because they kind of combine scholarships with the colleges. So if you would select self-discovery, you can start to see either all of the assessments or just a couple. So if you're in your demo, you should be in all. If you had navigated to a specific grade, you're going to be limited. So I had gone to 6th grade, so this is only showing me these 2 assessments. But if I would go back to my demo, now I can see all 8. So we're going to assign these at various times when we think they're appropriate for the students. So this Strengths Explorer right here, this assessment can only be taken once. So I know one of my middle schools is doing an assessment very similar to this. It's finding what students are interested in and what their strengths are, so then possibly what careers they should look into. So this assessment, since it can only be taken once, we are not going to put it in the curriculum until the end of 9th grade year. So that one, you don't have to worry about turning on. We will turn it on. And then once in the scope and sequence in May, you will just have all students take it. Now, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders missed it because this is our first year rolling this out. So when we open it in May, we're going to suggest to the counselors talking to schools about having 10th, 11th, and 12th graders take it as well, so they can do their one time, because this assessment just shows them so much about who they are, and it's really great. Really, all these assessments do. And they're very engaging, and the kids like diving into the information they get after they take the assessment. And they're only maybe at most 15-minute long assessments. They're not super long. Then we get into courses. So they can go to their favorites from here or go explore that course catalog. This is all under construction. So like I said, later in the year, we'll be able to go look at that. But then we get to careers. They can see all their favorites, and then they can start to explore. And here's where they find their work-based learning, which is those internships. So let me go to explore so you can see the difference. Remember on the staff side, it was that boring list. Look how awesome these are. So if I want to look at being an actor, I can select an actor. I'm back. I promise, as soon as it paused, I stopped talking. So you haven't missed anything. I stopped talking. Shall we go back? There we go. Okay, so yeah, here is my average salary in Indiana. So that's really cool. They can see where they live in the US. Whew, Kansas, definitely don't go into acting in Kansas. Then the Holland traits, and then the related majors to this job, and then the related careers. If they're like, oh, maybe I don't want to be an actor, what else could I do in this field? So then they can also go across these tabs here to look at the skills and experience that are needed, what wages. So there's another way to dive into the wages and start to see the different ranges. So like here's Indianapolis, since that's our capital. And then if they have upcoming events for students to explore it more, they will show up here. And then notice anytime they see the favorite, if students are interested, they should just click right there to favorite it. And then I'm going to go back to my Explore, my careers. And there's another way to favorite it here. So if you look, I can just click here to favorite it as well. And then colleges is the same way. There's a little bit more here because this is really, they're really trying to have students explore here, and they're putting the scholarships here. We can look into this further, but just know that like SAT scores, we are pushing those into this platform. So when a student looks at a college, there's going to be these things called scattergrams. So they can see their scores on there compared to other kids in their school or other kids looking into that college to see where they fall numbers wise with their assessment scores to other students in the nation. So I know I had a high schooler who got like basically a 50% on her SAT looking at her scores. And she wanted to go look at a college for criminal justice. And she goes, why is my dot all the way down here? I go, well, you didn't really try, and your scattergram shows that. So it's a great eye-opening activity for students. So with that, we are at our 30 minutes. So tomorrow we will finish diving into the student side and get to the staff side to show you how to put your AA students in a group, because all teachers will do that. And you're going to have to help support them with that. All right. So anything we did today, feel free to explore it or explore any more of the site, and know tomorrow we will wrap it up. If you have any questions, let us know. If not, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll record this just so we have multiple options. Okay, so to get started, we're going to go ahead and go back to Naviance. So remember, go to Clever, sign in, and then choose that Naviance icon from the district side. So today, I will be driving from my side of Naviance. I won't be signed in as a teacher. So mine will look a little different. This will give you an idea of what it looks like for guidance counselors. So theirs does look like this, has all these options. So it's similar to yours, but obviously they have a few bells and whistles more than you. You will notice as well today, you have a new option on the blue bar up here. You're going to see analytics. So I did turn that on. Don't worry about that feature. That's going to be a PL later, because right now we're worried about implementation versus that tracking piece. So we're going to do that later. We just want to do this step first, get people using it, and then we'll pull in the analytics piece. So, and it's only analytics for if you're in high school AA class, or middle school, your homeroom. So that's the only piece you have to worry about. So hopefully I gave you enough time to get in. So if you're in, remember, we're going to click that fun little green button that says click me over here. It says Demo Naviance Student. So we're going to click that to get back in the demo side. Okay, so today my demo will look a little more different because I'm signed in as me. So, and I'm at a high school level instead of middle school. So it will look slightly different. I'll have more things available to me as a student, because obviously this will be used more in high school than middle school. So yesterday we got through most of this, and we just need to get through the planner piece and the about me piece before we go back to the staff side. So if you remember yesterday, when I showed you the rundown of this, I talked about this section showing your tasks that you have. There's only 3 here, and these 3 aren't even relevant right now. So most of these 3 here are actually going to be due around the end of the school year. So this is why we don't recommend sending students here to find their tasks. So there's 2 ways to do it. One is they select see all in my planner. But if most students land right here on the main page, we would recommend using planner and then tasks. So this is going to take them to their tasks in Naviance. Right now, only Wayne High School has them pushed out for PL purposes. They will be pushed out next week to every student in the district. You never have to worry about pushing them out. It's always going to be done at a district level. So hopefully that will take some things off plates. So then, because I'm in as a student in Wayne, I'm able to see the various tasks that have been assigned. I can see some are required, some are recommended. So if you look at these recommended, it's explore colleges and their admission requirements. We all know we're not going to have students who go on to college. So we should not be requiring that they have to do this. So that's why it's going to be recommended. So if that's the pathway they take, they can explore that. But then there are pieces that tie back to the Naviance curriculum that helps them make these decisions for their college career readiness. Those are the ones that are required, because that's universal for everyone, no matter what pathway they choose. So I'm just going to click into one. So I'm going to click this post-secondary SMART goal. So this is what a task would look like within a program. So remember, tasks make up a program, and each grade has a program of tasks. So I'm in a 12th grade program, and this is one of my tasks. For students to see what they need to do, sometimes there's descriptions over here. This one doesn't have any. But if you see this pink diamond with the arrow, this is going to tell them what they actually have to do. This is their objective right there. To complete this task, you need to create a goal. And the nice thing about this program is they hyperlink as much as they can. So if students need to take an assessment, it will link them to that assessment. If students need to go explore careers, it's going to give them the link to go explore careers. So for this one, they can literally select create a goal, and it's going to take them to my goals, and they have no goals assigned to them yet. So it's not going to show up here, but if they need to create their goal, they can just hit the plus or the plus on top of the goals. And then once they do it, it automatically tracks it. So you don't have to do anything. Most of the tasks are set up to automatically track based on what they do in the platform. So I'm going to come back to the tasks assigned to me. That's where I was. It just brought me over here to goals. These are in the same area. So coming back, let me shut off my email. It keeps blowing up and I'm afraid you can hear it. Okay, so I'm back in my tasks. I'm going to get back in one of my tasks. There is a feature on here called raise hand. Students are able to ask questions. Naviance has told us students will like this platform and more than likely will be on here on their own trying to complete stuff and explore it. So if they do have questions, they are able to ask the question. At high school, all students are assigned to their counselor in this platform. So if they ask a question, their counselor will get notified. So if you don't happen to see the question, they will be notified. In middle school and even a regular high school teacher, we can show you how to see if a student asks a question. So that's a great feature. Any questions over the programs or tasks? Nope. Okay. So I'm going to show you one more piece inside the platform. Coming back up to the top of the bar, you're going to see the About Me. So if you click that, it's going to give you another drop down. This is where students will start to build their resume. It's another way to access their goals. There's a quick way to access their portfolio to see what they've done in the program. There's something called a journal. So this is an area where students, parents, and guidance counselors can communicate with each other about a student's CCR path. And then as we get to like 12th grade and students start applying to colleges, files are going to be shared with them in that application process, and those will go here. Middle school and high school will have surveys to take. I know for middle school, there's a transition to middle school survey for 6th grade. It's already created and it will be assigned to them as part of their tasks. So you don't have to worry about completing it, but this is where students can go to see their results. In high school, there are 2 surveys there. They are turned off for the students just because I'm in demo, I can see them. But if I was just a 9th grader, I would not see these. We have to turn them on and we have them scheduled to turn on at the right time. So we're actually going to go click on the About Me home. So this is going to give me an overview of my surveys, my assessments I've taken in the platform. So they're hyperlinked again, so I can go see my results. It's going to show me what other assessments I have available to take. I do recommend, if you ever have the time, take these assessments to see what they're like. They give valuable information, and you'd be surprised how they connect with you today as an adult. So we can look at their post-secondary plans to see what careers or clusters they're interested in. We can look at the colleges they're thinking about. And then here's another way to access their journal. So back at the top, there's also 4 options here. If you remember, we saw all of these when we click this drop down. So this About Me home just kind of ties it all together here. So I'm going to go to Account next. So this is where the student can start to see pieces of their portfolio. We see this in the students' the student's portfolio all together. Students see it in 2 separate things. They see it in account and portfolio. We see it together on our end. So here is their information. It's pulling in from PowerSchool. The academic section, we are working on this. So for my demo, this is my GPA, but students, their weighted GPA is pulling in as well, because we know we need that for college applications. And we are working on adding in class rank, because I know that's needed for some applications. And I've heard so far Northrop and Snyder are very competitive on class rank. Don't know about Southside. So it's going to be here. We are going to add it. So I'm going to go back. So this time I will select portfolio. And so here, this tab up here, if I select one of these, it's just going to scroll down on the page to that area. Or you can manually scroll and see the various pieces. So if I select career planning, my page is going to scroll and I can see what I'm working on for career planning. Obviously, I haven't done anything, but the more our students do in here, the more that's going to be here for them to see and for you to see on your side. So are there any questions over this area here? So I'm going to go ahead and exit the demo to get back to my side of Naviance. So I'm going to show you on your side, if you happen to be working one-on-one with a student, how to pull up their portfolio. So coming up to the blue bar at the top, we're going to go to students and student roster. So yesterday we went into this area and I showed you that you can sort it by grade level. And then within each grade level, it sorts by the alphabet. Remember that the more filters you add, the less students you're going to see, because you're going to start to filter them out. And you never know what some student has in their PowerSchool that will filter them out. But you can also today, if you don't want to use a student, so you can find any student to see, we do have information in there. If you want, you can also look at your demo. So if you're teaching in class and you don't want students to see something, I recommend using your demo. So just search by your last name. I broke the internet. There we go. So your demo that you have, you're able to look at them as a student. So if I look at my demo, I'm in 12th grade. I don't have a counselor, but I can tell you at the high schools, we do have them assigned and it will show up here. So then I'm pulling in information from PowerSchool for my ID number and all this other information. So then here is my academic information. So we are pulling this in. Groups here in a couple minutes, we're going to learn about groups. So you can see what groups a student is in. And if you look, my demo student is already in 2 different groups. So students can be in numerous groups and have no idea. And then the login information, this is going to be maintained through Clever, so you don't ever have to worry about working on the username and passwords. So this first page you landed on was just a very generic rundown on the students. But if you notice here on the right, it says a student has a CCR question. So this is one way to see that my student asked a question. So you would only see this if you had worked with the student one-on-one. You wouldn't have been alerted, but if I had had a counselor here, they would have been alerted to this. So this is one way, probably highly unlikely for you to find it this way. So here on the left is more, I call them like tabs in a binder. So their portfolio is very big, has multiple layers. The piece you might work with the most is CCR tasks. And this is if you're working with a student one-on-one. Maybe they've been absent for 3 weeks. So you're trying to see where they're at, trying to work with them to get them caught up. So I can see the tasks that have been assigned to them. I can see the status on that task when they're due. I can remove it from a student if it was accidentally assigned to them. Let's say I have a student move in November from out of state, so they're brand new, so they miss September, October, I'm able to waive those tasks so they don't have those bogging down their information. So here I was in progress on this task. I can say, hey, what happened? Why'd you stop? This one, I can see the question that I had asked. So I'm able to click here and see their question and give them a response and then mark it as resolved. You're also to see what tasks are upcoming, and then I'm able to see tasks that are completed. And then I can view the details of those tasks. There are other tabs. If you see them, you can dig into them working with the student, because we know sometimes you mentor those students. So it's quite all right to dive into there. I know throughout the piece in middle school, careers is going to be big, exploring that. You're able to click into the careers tab to see what careers the students have explored or favorited. So these will be here for you to see. So I'm going to go back. No, I'm not going to go back. I'm actually going to go to what's called groups. So this is a piece all teachers are going to have to do, because in Naviance, your students are not rostered to you. In Schoology on your homeroom AA, they are. That's where all the curriculum's going. In here, we're going to find a way to put our students with us so we don't have access to all the students. Because right now, every single one of you has access to every single student in your building, and that's not who you work with. So we're going to go to students and then groups. And so if you look, we already have a bunch of groups made. Most of them are at the district level. So if you look CA, these are all the programs at Career Academy. Your students that go to Career Academy are still tied to your school. We can't tie them at both places. So we're putting them in groups on here for the Career Academy staff to work with them here. We will also probably do that with AmpLab once we get more information from them. But all the others, these are all building ones. Here's the one I created. Students do not know if they're in a group, and they do not see the name of their group. So if I put learning disability and put my students in there, they would have no idea they are in there. This is just for our side to help us use this program better. So every teacher will need to come select add new group. And then they have to give it a code or short name. So we've been recommending maybe your classroom number, maybe your initials, or if you have a really short name, you're able to put it in there. And then give it the full name so you can find it in that list on the left. So like Mrs. Moyer's homeroom. So create whatever it is you want, just two simple things, and then select add group. So I've already added a group, so I'm going to go back and find mine. So once you add it, it might take a minute to show up here. That's okay. So when you see it, it's right here. Here is mine. So here's that name. Here's those initials or that code. If I don't like the name, I'm not stuck with it. I can change it. I can delete it if I want to just start over. And then I can edit members. So we all need to edit our members. So it filters by grade level. So mine defaulted to 12th grade. If I want to switch to 11th grade, I select here and select 11th grade. But it doesn't change it. I literally have to push the button change to change my rosters. So that's a piece I myself forget to do. So make sure you hit that change. And so you don't have to search for your students. I recommend using Control Find or Control F to start looking for students. And then you would select your student. You can hold the Control key and select multiple students. And then I just need to add them over. Once I've made my changes and I'm happy with what, let's say I need 11th grade, how many, I have all my 11th graders, I'm able to update membership. And I can have multiple grades in a group. So I don't have to have a group for every grade. I can have one group and put all of my kids in there. So that's all you have to do for the setup. Now that we have this set up, it will help us later to track our students' progress and assign their tasks. So this was just a one-time quick setup. Obviously, if you have students leave or students join, you'll have to come back here and edit your members. So now I'm going to come to Planner and Dashboard. So this is going to show me the students in my school and how they're doing on the various tasks. So things that can show me are comments they've made, documents they've completed, surveys, or questions they've asked. So right here is my demo, and I can see that they've asked a question, so I am able to respond to it. Now I can't filter by my homeroom or AA here, but I am able to sort by the counselors in my building or the grades. So this is just going to give you a building overview versus just your group. So to see your group, that's going to come later when we get to the analytics part. But right now, like I said, we're just wanting people to get comfortable using it, get it set up. We didn't want to overwhelm everyone. So that will come later, bringing it down to your group. But one thing that does happen is sometimes there will be a task that a teacher has to mark completed. I would say about 90 to 95% of the tasks that we assign, either the system marks it complete or the student leaves a comment and that marks it complete. But there's very few instances where it says the teacher needs to mark it complete. So for those, I'm going to show you how to do it in one try. So you would go to Planner, Assign and Manage. So as I said earlier, you don't have to worry about the assign piece. This is done for you. So you can toggle over here to what's called Batch Update. So then you would select the tasks that you need to do a batch update on. I'm not sure if there's one that I'll do this one. So I just randomly picked a task. You can then sort it by the grades. I wouldn't worry about looking at the counselor, gender, ethnicity. I'd be worried I would omit a student. Actually, get to the left. And then right here in student groups, this is the piece we need. I would go find your group. So I'm Moyer Demo. And then you would select Continue. So unfortunately, my two 11th graders have not been assigned a task. I must have only assigned it to 12th graders. So you would normally have all your students listed here that needed that task. You would check mark them, choose a drop down to say mark is complete, and then submit. So it's very easy here to just select all. I want to mark complete and then just submit. So right now that's the site in a nutshell. The main thing is getting those teachers to create their groups and then making sure they know how to navigate various pieces on the platform. But I have one more piece I want to show you. So now I'm going to go out to Schoology. So I had told you yesterday, all the curriculum is going to happen on here. It's pre-made, grab and use. So today I'm going to show you where to find it so you can start to explore it. So then you can help support your coach in rolling this out in your building. So you're going to go to Groups and then the Integrated Teacher Resources. And then we're going to come over here to Resources. I don't know if anyone's been on here lately, but if you have, you've probably noticed that we've added a Naviance folder. So in here, you're going to have the curriculum maps. They are broken apart by middle school, high school. So I will pull up middle school just to give you a kind of look at it. So it all starts out with a high-level overview showing you the Naviance and well-being breakdown by the months. If you want to dive deeper into these to see what exactly I have to do, you can switch to Naviance to really dive into here. But notice that all the months are hyperlinked. So every grade will hyperlink to their grades folder in Schoology to make it easier for teachers. So if I need to go and see what my October lessons are, I can literally click here and it will take me to 6th grade October lessons. So this makes it easier for teachers to move it. So I'm going to go back to the Naviance home folder. You're going to notice for every grade is going to have a Smart Start, because this is brand new, not just to the teachers, but also the students. So we all are going to be learning it together. So we have developed Smart Start lessons. They are grab and use. This is just the lesson plan overview, but in each grade September folder is literally lessons they can just copy over and use. So we've provided edu protocols, we've provided video. So this video here, if a teacher isn't comfortable explaining what Naviance is and how to navigate, there's a video pre-made for them to use. So there's 3 lessons to basically learn how to use it, doing a scavenger hunt on the site, and then creating their first goal. Because we have all grades creating an academic goal, so we can start to talk to them about their academic future. So then I literally have a folder for every grade. So if I go into 9th grade, every grade will also have a lesson plan folder. So Naviance has 16 lessons for every grade. So every grade had a lesson description page. I went and grabbed all of those. So we have 9.1, my foundation. So when they go to teach 9.1, they're able to pull up the objectives, what's required, time frames, and even enrichment activities they could do. So this is just a reference tool for teachers that need that piece. So I'll go back to 9th grade, get out of lesson plans. So right here is my September. I can check it out, see, oh, here's my 3 lessons. So they can grab each lesson individually, or because I know how they work, they're probably going to say, why can't I just grab September and move it into my homeroom class? They can absolutely do that. They would just check the folder, select the gear, add to course. And I know at high school, you probably have 4 AAs. You have 9, 10, 11, 12. So I would select, like if this was 9, 10, 11, 12, I would select all 4 and then go put it in your Naviance folder. And then you would just hit add and it'll add it to your course. I will say, so if I look in October, sometimes there are assessments that will need assigned. So you'll have to click into it and say, here's the due date, here's the grading category. So it's just a quick setup, just like any normal assessment. And I know I'm butting up on time, but I have one more piece. So with this being new and every teacher and every coach running a homeroom or AA, we're running into pages might all look different. So we do have a consistency template for homeroom. Don't freak out, it's super simple. So where we normally find our templates, it's in there. We're literally asking if you're doing well-being lessons and have stuff to share, have a folder for well-being and put the content in there. Have a Naviance folder and dump your month folders into there. So when you copy over that September folder, I would put that September folder in here. If you do any boosters based on code of conduct and you have stuff you need to share, I would put it in there for students. That way you don't get a very mumbled jumbled page. So just try to work with teachers to try to create an organized homeroom AA page. So I know that was a lot, but I will share the slide deck with you and then I'm going to be here for questions or I'm going to let you go. All right. So yes, I'm going to give you the slide deck so you have it. I don't know if your coaches shared it with you or not. But if you have questions or they have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Eric, Sarah, Rick, or I. We're happy to help and get you going. But beyond that, you're free to go. Thanks for coming.